Today we visit Floreana Island on the southern edge of the Galapagos platform, 10,000 feet above the Pacific Ocean plate. We disembark from the Pangas on the beach at Punta Cormorant on the northern tip of Floreana. An interesting feature of this bay is that the beach is full of olivine crystals, which gives it a distinctly greenish tint. The green crystals here are olivine, and the white ones that you see are feldspar. These two minerals constitute a big part of the Earth. Half of the Earth's upper mantle consists of olivine, and then above that, in the Earth's crust, feldspar makes up about 60%. When large enough, gem-quality olivine crystals are marketed under the name of peridot. It's the official birthstone of August. Unfortunately, we didn't find any big enough to facet. Of the several species of mangrove found in the Galapagos, the black mangrove is the most salt tolerant. They're able to take up salt water, use the water, and expel the salt through their leaves. The seeds will fall off the plant, float on the surface of the ocean, and then sprout whenever they're washed up on a suitable shoreline. We also have these pneumatophores, which are these dark, woody, finger-like projections growing up from the soil. All plants need to breathe, so the black mangrove has developed these roots that act like snorkels, allowing the tree to get air even though it's standing in seawater or soggy mud. From the beach, we take a short walk to a viewpoint that overlooks a brackish lake. The lake is home to a variety of birds, including flamingos. Fortunately for us, there were several there when we arrived. Baby flamingos are born white or gray. They gradually turn pink over the first few years of their lives, so this is a juvenile. There's a fairly healthy population, over 1,000 flamingos located throughout the islands. The birds do fly from island to island in search of food. Galapagos flamingos are also known as rosy flamingos. Their bright pink color comes from their diet of crustaceans and small water plants. The more they eat, the pinker they become. These birds have an interesting style of eating, with their heads upside down. They're filter feeders. They scoop their heads from side to side and stir up food from the bottom, and then they use their tongues to pump water in and out of their beaks. The beaks have these comb-like filters that let water out but trap food inside. Leaving the lagoon, we take another trail to a beautiful white coral beach that is an important nesting site for sea turtles. Along the way, we get introduced to some more flora and fauna. This is Scalesia villosa. It's part of the same family that includes Scalesia pedunculata. Those are the tall trees we saw in the highlands of Santa Cruz. This is one of the plants that occupies the arid zone. The palo verde, or Jerusalem thorn. It's a spreading tree that leaves that resemble these long, narrow spikes and yellow-orange flowers that produce a nectar that's a favorite of the Galapagos carpenter bee. This vine with the showy flowers is a passiflora plant. It produces a fruit that's a type of berry called maracuya, or also known as passion fruit. A sorbet, a helado, made with maracuya berries was a favorite treat of mine when we were in Puerto Ayora. A lot of the trees along the hike had this lichen called dyer's moss, and in the 1800s this was widely used to make a purple dye, and at one time it was commercially harvested in the Galapagos. A little bit farther along, we spot this Galapagos dove. These birds are very boldly marked, beginning with a deep blue ring around the eye, reddish-brown chest, and these wings that are streaked with black and white. When we arrive at the next beach, we're greeted by this male yellow warbler. We can tell that because of the colors in his chest. Males have these red streaks, while the females do not. This coral sand beach is an important sea turtle nesting site. We see lots of tracks. Females will lay their eggs at night. They crawl up the beach past the high tide mark and then dig a nest with their back flippers. And then they lay between 50 or 200 eggs before making her way back down to the ocean before the sun rises. We spotted one turtle in the shallows. Maybe this one's waiting to come ashore tonight. We returned to the olivine beach and watched these snoozing sea lions while waiting for our pangas to arrive. In the pangas, we watched these two turtles mating. The male is much smaller than the female. Multiple males can court a single female, like we see here. The male on top hangs on to try and prevent the other males from attempting to mate with her. The females return every 2 to 3 years to the same beach where they were born, and that's where they mate and then have their own eggs. We rarely see the Galapagos fur seals out in the ocean since they hunt at night, and then during the day they rest in the shade along the rocky coastline. We see two species of cactus here, the prickly pear and the candelabra. After our panga ride, we have a snorkeling session, which I'm going to cover in part 2. But now let's jump ahead to the afternoon. We take the boat to La Olla Bay and hike inland to Mirador de la Baronesa, or the Baroness Lookout. The Baroness Lookout is an impressive panoramic view atop of a small cinder cone. The Baroness Eloise von Wagner apparently used this location for viewing and studying vessels approaching the island. Floreana is one of the oldest islands. It's been around a long time and has experienced several million years of erosion and weathering. And as a result, most of the island is now less than 1,000 feet above sea level. From our observation point, we can still see the remnants of all the volcanic cones from its earlier history. From our viewpoint here, we can look down and count many turtles in the bay.
11, 12, 13, 14, at least 14.
Wow.
Maybe more.
After coming back from our hike, we took the kayaks out for a bit. Interestingly, Jillian is looking over the side here at about a dozen sharks that are resting in this little cut. Well, the evening ended with a kayak race between the oldest members, Bob and Ross, in the yellow kayak, and Jill and Sean in the green. It was a close race, a controversial finish, but suffice it to say that both teams finished strong. Well, that's it for the land portion of today's video. Thanks for watching.